Hello, everybody. I'm going to show off a bunch of books. I don't even know how many books, but it was fill a bag for $1. You can see my receipt here. Bag of books, $1. And then I also bought Mountain Dew. So this thrift store that I went to. It's called Salt and Light. It's in Urbana, Illinois, and they are part thrift store, part grocery store, and I think their mission is wonderful. They do great work in the community. So my vice in terms of pop is Baja Blast. I grabbed a Baja Blast. But I have 2 bags worth of books, and the cashier, he even said it. He said, I just charged you for 1. I had a whole shopping basket full, but I don't think this is a particularly well-attended sale because I was worried. I went after work, and I get off of work at 6:30. Didn't even make it to the thrift store until after 7. It closes at 8. I worried slightly, oh, I've never been to the sale. What if at the end of the day all the good books are gone? Yeah, the shelves were still packed full. I don't know if anyone really had bought any books before me, but let's get right into it. So the first book here, I grabbed off the top. Excuse the rustling bag noise if that is something that bothers you. Brighter Than a Thousand Suns, a personal history of the atomic scientist. So I'm a scientist myself. I have a chemistry degree, and so that immediately fascinated me. I don't think this book is on Goodreads. I did check Goodreads for most of these because I'm not familiar with most of these. Even though it was fill a bag for $1, I still had some personal restraint, even though I thought, let me just grab as many books that sound remotely interesting. When I'm paying full price, I'm more discerning, because I don't want to buy a book and then, even though it's so inexpensive at this particular store, buy a book and then not like it. But anyway, this book came out in 1958, and the reviews on the back say it reads like a thriller. So I'm a book collector as well as a reader, and this book is almost 70 years old, and I'm sure this is not extremely easy to find anymore. So that will be an interesting read. It's about the atomic bomb development. So terribly fascinating stuff. I get off of work at 6:30. I don't know if I said this already. Sorry. I filmed this 3 times now because I just am not satisfied with my intro. And the store closes at 8. I didn't get there until after 7, so I was like, oh yeah, I did say that earlier. Anyway, I also grabbed Sonia Sotomayor's My Beloved World. It's her biography. I think it's actually her autobiography. Yeah, she wrote it about herself. So the reviews I saw said that it reads very well. She's a great writer. It's like a captivating book, inspiring book. So I thought I love memoirs and autobiographies and biographies. I just love learning about people. And I know I'm talking really fast, but I have a lot of books to get through, and I'm chatty. Not in real life, but I love books, so this is a topic I'm extremely interested in. I'll just ramble and ramble. So first 2 books there, and we're 3 minutes in, so I need to hurry it up. So this one is Nobody's Cuter Than You by Melanie Shankle, author of the Big Mama blog, a memoir about the beauty of friendship. So let's see. This book retailed for $15.99. Came out in 2015. Sonia Sotomayor's book came out, I don't know when, but it was $16.95 back in 2013, and back in 1958, this atomic bomb book was $5. So at this thrift store, they sell soft covers for $1.29 and hardcovers for $1.29 and soft covers for 79 cents. So I've already, with my first 3 books here, well worth the money, the $1 that I paid. And this thrift store sells books for so extremely cheaply because they're not trying to necessarily turn like a huge profit. They're trying to benefit the community. I really appreciate their mission. Anyway, when I saw the reviews for this, they were kind of mixed. Some people said, there's one review that sticks with me that said that it just is, there's nothing like captivating about this story, that there's nothing that drives you to read it all the way through because there's no tension, there's no drama. It's just an extremely normal, average childhood. But other positive reviews said that it was just very sweet and uplifting, and it reminded them of their own childhood, and it just was a nice, wholesome book to read. So I thought that was great. And yeah, it's about Melanie's relationship with her best friend Gully and how they have, at the time of writing this book, been friends for 25 years. So that's really nice. I need to talk faster. I have never read any of the Bridgerton books. I don't know if I'm going to like them or not. I haven't even seen a single YouTube clip of the show. I have no clue whether this is up my alley. But fill a bag for $1. So this was, there were actually 2 Bridgerton books. This one's the prequel, and there was a Happily Ever After. So, not a sequel, but you know what I mean. And this is me being extremely picky, but you gotta be picky in order to save money and not just go a little wild. You gotta think to yourself, like, wait, let me come up with some standards for myself. The cover was torn on the Happily Ever After book, so I only grabbed this one. And it's great that it's a prequel book because I've never read any of the series or know anything. But this came out, I don't know when, but it was $16.99. I don't know why I'm saying the year. This edition came out in 2016. So yeah, I do like historical romance though, so I'm sure this is fine. It's just gonna be, I'm sure, like a just kind of easy read, just kind of something that I don't really have to think too hard about it. You know, not something that's gonna give me heart palpitations like a thriller would. I avoid thrillers. The Happiness Project. Okay, completely different tone. This is a memoir / self-help book. Retailed for $14.99. I remember discovering Gretchen Rubin's website, The Happiness Project, years and years ago, like in the early 2010s. This book came out in 2009. Yeah. So I've never read it, but I have intended to read it and just kind of forgot about it. Like I said, I discovered her website. I like her website. I haven't seen it in a while, but the subtitle is, or why I spent a year trying to sing in the morning, clean my closets, fight right, read Aristotle, and generally have more fun. And this was a New York Times bestseller back in the day. So one of the reviews on the back says, it's a friendly, approachable, and compulsively readable narrative that will not only make you want to start your own happiness project, but will also make you want to invite Ruben out for a cup of coffee. So that sounds great. Book I've been wanting to read. So immediately went into my basket. Probably should have grabbed a cart, honestly. This one is Acts of God, The Unnatural History of Natural Disaster in America, published through Oxford University Press. I live in a college town. That's why I'm here, actually, as I work for the university. So there are textbooks and things out and about. This was published in 2000, and it includes a new chapter on Katrina and its aftermath. I don't actually read nonfiction as much as I used to. There's a period of several years, most of when I was in college, actually, where I was reading only nonfiction, not really any fiction. And I like to collect textbooks. It's just, you got your own weird little interests, right? So I'm very interested in reading it, but also I like having textbooks. So there you go. Also, this actually is on Goodreads, and the reviews were good. I think somebody complained that it was a dry read, but it's a textbook, basically. It's an academic book. This one's Field Notes from a Catastrophe. It's actually a similar theme. Man, Nature, and Climate Change by Elizabeth Colbert. This retailed for $22.95, and oh yes, here's one of the reviews from the back that really sold me on this. The hard, cold, sobering facts about global warming and its effects on the environment that sustains us. Colbert's Field Notes from a Catastrophe is nothing less than a silent spring for our time. Another review says the same thing. This is what it must have been like to read Silent Spring 40 years ago. When you put down this book, you'll see the world through different eyes. So if you don't know, Silent Spring is a pivotal book about environmentalism. I actually don't quite remember what it's about anymore, but I remember learning about it in college. I've never read it myself, but anyway, this is not too thick of a book. I think this started. She's a staff writer for the New Yorker, so I think this might have started as like a New Yorker piece and then expanded. This one's Get Out of Your Own Way, A Skeptic's Guide to Growth and Fulfillment by Dave Hollis. And I was like, Hollis, I've heard of that. He is the husband of Rachel Hollis, who wrote Girl, Wash Your Face, which, if you've looked in the book section of any store lately, or been in a bookstore, or been in the book section of a thrift store, you've seen this book. I literally saw at least one copy of Girl, Wash Your Face while I was at this thrift store looking for these books, finding these books. I've never read Girl, Wash Your Face, and I think the reviews on it are actually like it's kind of hokey, or maybe I'm misremembering and it's some other self-help memoir type book that's hokey. But there's a lot of hokey ones out there, you know. But the reviews for this were like on average over 4 stars. So this retailed for $24.99, and I thought it was interesting to. I mean, like, not that I've done a study on this or anything, but typically it's more women writing like these kind of self-help books of growth and fulfillment. So I was like, oh, the man's perspective, and really interesting because his wife wrote a self-help book too. So if I end up liking this, I might pick up his wife's book, which will be completely different, but will be. I'm hitting the coffee table. Excuse me. You know, an interesting mirror, because they both talk about their relationship in their books. So it says here in the flap, Dave tackles topics he once found it difficult to be honest about, things like his struggle with alcohol, problems in his marriage, and his insecurities about being a dad. I was like, that's a perspective you don't often get, so I'm intrigued by that. And I love memoirs and stuff. All right. 2 more books in this bag. Fair Play. I have seen this online, and I was very excited to find this. This came out pretty recently, I think. This retailed for $26 and came out in 2019. A game-changing solution for when you have too much to do and more life to live by Eve Brodsky. It was in Reese's Book Club. So, there is not only the book, there's a deck of cards you can buy, and it is about balancing different household and family tasks. So let me read part of the flap here. Tired of being the default parent responsible for all aspects of her busy household, Eve counted up all the unpaid invisible work she was doing for her family and then sent that list to her husband. His response was underwhelming. Brodsky realized that simply identifying the issue of unequal labor on the home front wasn't enough. She needed a solution to this universal problem. The result is Fair Play, a time and anxiety-saving system that offers couples a completely new way to divvy up domestic responsibilities. She interviewed more than 500 men and women. There's 100 different tasks, and you can start to balance, like, oh, you know, you can consciously think, this task is my responsibility, this one's yours. And when you see, like, oh, do you have more than me? And, you know, every relationship's different, but it's just like, if you struggle with that, which I currently don't, but because I'm not in a committed partnership like that, but yeah, for future. And then I got this Chicago Studs Terkel by Studs Terkel. It's $15.95. I have never heard of this author. This came out in 1986. And it says, a long prose poem full of the vitality that is Studs and its astounding cities. Not since Nelson Algren's Chicago City on the Make has there been so succinct, emotionally gratifying, and invaluable a work, a truly graphic kaleidoscope of the city that so importantly helped to nurture Studs' genius, and which he himself has nurtured. I didn't even read any of the actual contents of the book. I just decided to grab it because fill a bag for $1. I paid only $1 for all of this. And I've only ever been to Chicago once, even though I only live 2 hours away from Chicago. I'm originally from Columbus, Ohio. But to kind of read kind of a love letter, I want to say. I mean, it's a poem about Chicago. So that'll be interesting. All right, that's the first bag. All right, in the second bag here, we've got Andre Perry's Some of Us Are Very Hungry Now, and this appears to actually be signed by the author. That looks like a very loose kind of doctor's type autograph of Andre. So that's fascinating. I've never heard of him before, but this was $15.99, and Andre Perry is an essayist and arts advocate. This came out in 2019. And it's a bunch of essays. One of the reviews says that the brilliance, transparency, and earnest exploration of race, class, politics, sexuality, and notions of home are collectively so nuanced that I'm certain this book is like a comet you might never see the likes of it again. The critical gaze as sharp as James Baldwin's and the divineness of a cinematic masterpiece is artistically complex and boundless as moonlight. Andre Perry knows what it means to pull weeping from the soul. So some of the Goodreads reviews that I found for the book said that some of the essays were incredibly powerful, and that some of them fell flat. But for, $1 for all of these books, I decided to take a chance on it. This one, Psychic Witch, a metaphysical guide to meditation, magic, and manifestation. I might actually own this book already, but decided to grab it nonetheless. Matt Oren. So back in college, I had a phase where I really wanted to read all about witchcraft. And it's like in high school, I had a Beatles phase. I read all kinds of Beatles books. I don't come across Beatles books, actually. Otherwise, I'd own more of them. I don't think I own a single Beatles book. That's odd. Anyway, this retailed for $18.99 when it came out. And, I mean, it's in fabulous condition. So if I don't own it, I'm actually excited because I remember seeing this advertised when it came out, 2021. 2021 was prime time for when I was reading books about witchcraft and spirituality. So, that was a great find. I snatched that right off the shelves. This is also in fabulous condition, and I don't know if I'm actually gonna like it, but I'll take a chance on it for, I know I keep repeating, for $1. But anyway, $16.99. It is Marie Kondo's The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, which needs no introduction. It looks pristine. It looks like it's never been used. I might even give it as a gift. I don't know. This one, My Stroke of Insight. So when I looked up reviews for this, I have a couple of friends on Goodreads, like people that I personally know that I'm friends with on Goodreads as well. And this came out, it was $17 and came out in 2009. And there was a review for one of my friends from 2009 saying that this book is beautiful, and that she's a fabulous writer. And so I was like, oh, immediately sold that. That's one of my favorite friends. I know probably like children, you're not supposed to say you have favorite friends, but like you do. And yeah, it's an under 200-page book, and it is a brain scientist's personal journey. So in 96, Jill Taylor had a massive stroke in the left hemisphere of her brain. For Taylor, the stroke was a blessing and a revelation. It taught her that by stepping to the right of our left brains, we can all uncover feelings of well-being that are often sidelined by brain chatter. In My Stroke of Insight, Taylor provides a valuable recovery guide for those touched by brain injury and inspiring testimony that inner peace is accessible to everyone. Sounds very fascinating. This is The Longest 7 Yards. Unfortunately, this book is a little water damaged, I found when I was flipping through it. You can kind of see the pages are a little wavy, but on the outside, it looks pristine. It's just got some shelf wear on the edges of the book. These are things I do notice. Anyway, The 7 Longest Yards are a love story of pushing the limits while leaning on each other. Chris and Emily Norton with Mark Tabb and forward by Tim Tebow. So it says on the back, quadriplegics simply do not walk again, yet millions watched as Chris Norton defied the incredible odds and took step by step across his graduation stage. This unforgettable and inspiring love story tells how Chris and Emily battled their greatest obstacles and found new life together from private struggles to shared blessings. This remarkable memoir is your stirring invitation to put one foot in front of the other, especially in the face of the impossible. And this book was $26.99 when it came out, and it came out in 2019. This is, as you can see from the genres back there, it is a Christian living, inspirational, like testimonial type book. I don't tend to go for those, not because I have any dislike for them, but it's just not really my genre. But this spoke to me, especially like in my time of life right now and whatnot, and it just thought that this was something that I could learn from and be inspired by. So I was happy to find that. This one is, I think, the only fictional novel it's the only piece of fiction I picked up, I believe. Everything else is nonfiction, not intentionally. Oh, no, wait, I had the Bridgerton book, so 2 pieces of fiction. My Name is Mary Sutter, a novel by Robin Oliveira, and this was $15 back full retail in 2011. And it's a Civil War novel of a young midwife who dreams of becoming a surgeon. So the reviews on this were pretty good. Talks about like the state of the medical world and like medical knowledge at the time in the Civil War, and just a great all-around historical novel. So I like historical stuff. This one is Tim O'Brien's The Things They Carried. Oh no, wait, this one is also fiction, so 3 pieces of fiction. $14.95. I looked up the reviews for this. I just very quickly, like I was about to walk out of the store. Well, not walk out of the store, but walk through the checkout line. This was published in 1990, and it was $14.95. Okay. The Things They Carried has become an unparalleled Vietnam testament, a classic work of American literature, and a profound study of men at war that illuminates the capacity and the limits of the human heart and soul. I don't really read many war books, whether they're novels or nonfiction, and I thought, you know what? I have turned my face away, but I should not. So I thought this would be great for me to really look at the atrocities of war and not just turn away from them, like actually reconcile with that. So there's that. I've only got, actually I have 3 more books, and I have more fiction than I realized. Dancing Under the Red Star, The Extraordinary Story of Margaret Werner, the only American woman to survive Stalin's Gulag. I think I pronounced that correctly. By Carl Tobin. And it's a book club edition, so it has no thing on the back. But yeah, I have no idea how much this sold for because it was a book club book. But this was published in 2006, and yeah, it had really good reviews when I looked it up. The shocking and inspirational saga of Margaret Werner and her miraculous survival in the Siberian death camps of Stalinist Russia. Yeah, so Henry Ford sent 450 of his employees to live in Russia to operate a new facility, and this woman got arrested when she was 17, and she didn't comply with the socialist agenda and ultimately was sentenced to 10 years of hard labor in the Gulag. This book is written by her son, and it took her 30 years to return home. So that sounds incredibly fascinating. It's a time period in history that I really don't know much about, and it's from an American perspective too. So that's definitely not something that you'll find every day. And the last book, I think this is literally the last book that I grabbed. Oh wait, I have 2 more books, but this is literally the last book that I grabbed. I saw The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, a novel. Look at this huge book, and I paid less than $1 for it because I'll count up the books at the end, do some quick math. But this book retails for $27.95, and it is the last book in this series, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I have never read this series, but I plan to because I saw online a list of book recommendations. It was a bunch of it was on a forum, so it was Reddit specifically, and someone had asked for page turners because they just really want something that they could be engrossed in. And some of the books mentioned included famous books like The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and Gone Girl, books that I remember seeing be wildly popular, but I never actually ended up reading them. So I now have one of the books in the trilogy, the last book, but figured I'd grab it at such a low price. Okay, the last book I actually bought is the period comic, A Girl's Easy Guide to Puberty and Periods. Look, I'm 25 going on 26. I don't know anybody that actually needs this, but I just thought I'm going to keep it on hand for none of my friends even have kids. That's the thing. But if some young lady comes into my life that needs this, I will have it. And I mean, it's the kind of thing I wish I had. Now, I had, when I was growing up, I had an American Girl book, like, about, I don't even remember what it was called, but, like, I could recognize the cover, like, immediately if I saw it. But, like, it talked about, like, puberty and whatnot and the changes in your body. So, I mean, it was a really informative book. But this one is just, I mean, it's for the modern day. Like, this one's literally talking about, this page is literally talking about period tracking apps. So girls can help predict when their period is. Are cramps and PMS normal? What to expect? How to prepare? Physical changes. Anyway, so yeah, it's just cute. For one thing, there's a website, periodcomic.com. So nice. Anyway, that's all the books that I bought. I did, like, that was literally everything I thrifted. I did also say that I got myself a Mountain Dew Baja Blast Cabo Citrus. It's tropical citrus punch. I don't think I've ever tried this flavor before. So I was like, you know, I'll pay $2.29 for it, which I think is more expensive than a regular grocery store, because they don't have bulk discounts at this store. They pay more for stuff, so the customer pays a little bit more. But like I said, supporting a great mission. I will count up the books really quickly and come back to report. Okay, I'm gonna try to pick this up, but I won't leave you in suspense. Oh no, this is not looking good. This is a very heavy stack of 20 books for $1. That's exactly 5 cents a book. That is easy math. I'm not bad at math, but even for me, that's easy math. 20 books for $1. Oh my goodness. I will show a couple of things. So I only bought books in the pop at the thrift store today, but I was actually there yesterday, and so I bought a couple of other things. I'll share that really quickly. I got this, it looks like brand new set of 3 dinosaur cookie cutters and stampers. So it stamps a little indent of fossils. And this was $1.99. It was apparently selling for $5 at one point, but I think this is something that goes for about $10 online. I actually already own a set of these, so this is going in my gift stash. I've got a person I want to give this to at Christmas. And then just a couple more items. I got myself some PJs. I've been really wanting to, I just wear, you know, a t-shirt and shorts or sweatpants to bed. And I've been really wanting to wear like actual like classic pajamas. And so this is brand new with tag. It was from Target back in the day. Stars above. Yeah, it was on clearance at one point. Anyway, it was a pajama set. This is only the top. It was $2.99. I don't know where the pants ended up, but yeah, I tried it on. Feels super comfy. It's a size small, so it's one size too big because I'm not extra small, but it looks great in its pajamas, and I like loose pajamas anyway, so love the piping. And I found a pair of pajama pants, not an exact match, but this navy color is very similar, and it's got the piping, the white piping, so it coordinates. It does have the polka dot print, and the other one's solid, but it looks like it kind of matches. This was $1.99. And what I like about it, I've never heard of this brand, Love Hannah, but it is 100% Pima cotton. And if you look up Pima cotton, it's supposed to be a higher quality cotton. So I like Pima cotton. And so I got that. And right next to it was this purple pair. Purple is one of my favorite colors. I wish they had pockets. They do not. I like to carry my phone and like whatnot in my pocket. But it's fine that they don't have them. Also, $1.99. And then very last item, this is just kind of funny. I was talking to my best friend about my thrift purchases, and she was shocked because I bought a pair of khakis. Not that I bought the pair, but because I said I have never in my life worn or owned khakis. That's what she was shocked by. So, the tax is $4.99, but unbeknownst to me, blue tags were the discount tags. So blue was 25% off. So I paid $3.74 instead. I paid a total of $13.84 on my Sunday trip. This is actually slightly too big, but my waist is a lot smaller than my thighs are, so I'll just wear a belt with this. But it's just a pair of size 0 khakis from Gap. And I, like I said, literally don't own khakis. And I was like, let me just embrace like the boring parts of adulthood. I work for the university. I don't have a dress code. So my friend was shocked because she said she wore khakis for all sorts of things in middle and high school. For like formal events and whatnot, professional events. And I said, every professional and formal event, I've worn black pants too. So I've never had to wear khakis before. I was just like, it's a color I don't have in my wardrobe. And I just decided, I was curious. I looked online and I was like, are khakis fashionable? Not that I thought they were, but I actually never see khakis anywhere, like on people or in stores. And I saw a comment that said, khakis are not flattering on anybody. Yeah, it's a weird color, okay? Like, it's very close to skin tone for a lot of people. But it'll be part of my business casual now. So, that's everything from my 2 thrift visits. I hope you all... this sweater was not from the same thrift store, but this is actually thrifted. I thrifted this in January, just a couple weeks ago, from a vintage store in downtown Champaign, which is the sister city to Illinois, just one town over. Dandelion Vintage. It was in their discount bin for $2, and it's perfect for Valentine's. It actually has sparkle in it. You can see silver sparkle thread running through it. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. I know I talked for over half an hour, but concerning that I talked about 20 books, that's actually pretty reasonable for me and my chatterbox self when I start talking about the things that I like. Oh, I also like to do a favorite things. I really like the pajamas. That's something I've been keeping an eye out at the thrift store. I want to get sets that look like pajamas, not just like gym clothes. So that's fun. Especially the top that's brand new with a tag still. In terms of the books, I am pretty excited about... Oh, there's so many different books that I got. Let's go with like which one am I most likely to read like soonest. That one, it might be the Sonia Sotomayor memoir or the 7 Longest Yards. I think actually I'm gonna read this one first because I want to read about a love story. Okay, sometimes you just want something like that. That's why romance novels are so popular, right? Why Bridgerton is so popular. Sometimes you want to hear about love. You need some positivity. So I think this one's actually the one I'm going to most likely read first out of these 20 books. This is the second. And let's pick out 1 or 2 more. Oh, I had no idea that this was going to be a book that I would pick up or like search, like read at any point. I didn't know that Dave Hall... I've never seen this book in a thrift store. I've seen Girl Wash Your Face in like every single thrift store I've ever gone to, but never the husband's book. So I'm intrigued by this. Okay, let's pick one more. Psychic Witch, because this is a book that I think if I do own it, that I purchased full price back when it came out. So yeah, like I said, one of my special research interests. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys.